everyone. A very warm welcome to another exciting episode of Psychology Talks. And I'm your host, Amreen Nadeem. Today, we're going to discuss healing beyond science. We often think that medicine is the science that is linked with healing only, and like people can get healed or cured from disease only by taking medicine. But there are ways to heal beyond these medicine, beyond these science. It's all in our head. Like there are numbers of studies about placebo effect, where people just think they are taking medicine, uh, which has which is causing the cure, but it is actually the medicine has nothing, and it is only the belief that is making them heal and making them cure. And we have seen it like in studies that especially that when doctors show empathy and towards patient, so patient do not only heal faster, in fact they also feel better, and they can manage pain and their diseases or their disorders very much better. And that's why I have invited our guest today. Is She is Dr. Diana Londono. She is a urologist, and she's one of the female 12%, like she's the female Latina urologist, which is only 12% in in US at this moment. And this is really, really amazing that how she is managing her work, and she's thriving in the environment where she's in the minority. She's also a certified coach. She's a Reiki Master and Pranic Healer, dedicated to bringing humanity, compassion, and presence into medicine while advocating physician wellness and equity. I'm so honored to have Dr. Diana with us. Hi, Diana. Thank you so much for joining us.
Brian, thank you so much for having me and for this beautiful introduction and just this space and this platform that you have built as, so humbly and so beautifully. So thank you so much for having me. And I'm looking forward to this conversation, and people in the chat, please feel free. I love to engage and really make this a meaningful conversation for all.
Thank you so much. We're so honored to have you with us today. And I just gave a very brief introduction, but tell us a bit about yourself, that your journey. Actually, you are a physician, you are a urologist, especially like very in a minority, only 12%, 12% female and Latina are there in US. So tell us a bit about your journey, that what struggles you faced and how you achieve what you have achieved today.
Well, I think we just achieve what we want to achieve by, really making a clear intention. Like, this is what we want. And I think it's important to be clear on what we want and not what we don't want, what we don't like, because we're going to attract more of that. And we're going to get stuck in that loop of things that we don't want. It's just a law of the universe. So when we really think about what we want, we really stay focused, and we have a strong belief, faith that it doesn't matter what the outside world, numbers, things look like, but that you have faith that it's going to happen. You have faith it's going to occur for you. Then you're start one taking the steps. It doesn't just happen magically. You start finding the steps, getting the ideas, having people come in to help you, and really manifest that you want in your life. But I think for whatever you want to do in life, whether it's writing a book, whether it's becoming a urologist, it doesn't matter. You have to have a very clear intention and a really strong why, purpose, emotion to really get there. And so that's really kind of how I got to whatever I have done. Is I really wanted to do it. I thought it was very important. I really had a passion for whatever that was. And for medicine, to me, I'm a surgeon, but one of the things I really do love is just really talking about the other part that we don't really like to talk about, which is our emotions and our thoughts, and how all these things really, as your introduction said, really impacts our health, our wellness, or our disease. And that is so, so important, so impactful, just as taking a medication, just as everything else. But we forget the power of our thoughts, our mind, and our emotions. Those are really, really powerful for both wellness or for illness.
Yes, you've said it so beautifully that it's all in our mind, right? And it's our belief that actually transform our health, not only the mental health, but the physical health as well. So that's really important part. Like when I actually, met you, and which really inspired me that you are the urologist, and this again, as I mentioned it in the introduction also, you are like in a minority. But tell us a bit about it. That what inspired you to follow that field, which is actually not very, I would say, not many women actually like to pursue. So, what inspired you to follow that route?
Well, I love old men, and most of my patients are older, patients. I have the
Mhm.
privilege of taking care of, 60, 70, 80, 90-year-old patients, even 100-year-old centenarians.
Wow.
And that's such a privilege. And I just love connecting with them, hearing their stories. And I always ask them, like, what made you get to 95 and be so healthy or be so
Mm.
vibrant? And the beautiful part is it's always, they don't realize, but they're like, well, I like to laugh and I don't take life so seriously. And
Yeah.
they have a purpose. They still have a purpose, whether it's taking care of their dog, whether it's, fixing their car that they love, spending time with family, but like taking life easy, not being so caught up in all the small drama that we make in all these stories, and really having a sense of humor and a connection with somebody that they love, their spouse, their grandkids, whatever it is. That is so, so key, and that really adds to longevity and just happiness in life. And I just like hearing their wisdom. I love their, they take life a little slower. They're not in this rush that we are as younger patients, like always rushing, always
Mhm.
trying to hurry to the next thing. They kind of stop and smell the roses a lot more. And they really come to the doctor for a social visit most of the time. Of course, they
Wow.
have a thing, but they're really there for the social part. And I just love that. And it's, they're my teachers. They teach me to slow down. They teach me to just take it easy when, again, I tend to, speak fast and get excited. And that's from my excitement to see them and be happy to be there for them. But they teach me the importance of life. Slow down, take it easy, laugh, connect with others. That's really, the nectar of life.
Yeah, I mean, you touched upon a very, very important point here that we need to slow down. I think, especially in this era of technology, and like when everything, like we are constantly bombarded by the information. Like we're getting information, we get the text message, we get the email, we are like we're glued to screens. Even if we are, let's say, driving a car or something, there are some like screens, the billboards or something like this, that it's giving some kind of information, right? So like we are so caught up in this information that we forget to live the life in the present moment. And I think that moment is the only moment where we live. And it is, sometimes I think it's, and most of the time we forget about it, because all the time in our head we are either somewhere else except to be in the present moment. So I think this is the beauty of life. The real beauty happens only in the present moment. And when we miss that moment, I guess we miss everything. We miss to live life actually. So yeah.
And I think that's so important. In when I see my patients, it really is about the present moment. As you said, we're so bombarded with the computer, typing in the computer the notes and putting orders and doing this, and you know, come into a patient's room and be standing and not, like you're rushing out. Like you have to really sit down, be close to them, be present, get rid of the phone, get rid of the computer, and just look at the person in the moment, in their eyes, and that sort of slows everything down. It stops the distraction because you're looking truly at the other soul in front of you through their eyes, picking up their energy, their worries, their silence between the pauses of what they're saying and not saying, with words, which is so important. You're going to miss that if you're on the computer, if you're trying to click and find an order. That's so distracting. And I really, rude to not look at a person when they're speaking to you, when
Yeah.
they're not speaking, and then you missing that cue of something that, as you were explaining, they sort of tensed up, or they drew back. Those nonverbal communications are so important, and you're going to miss that if you're on the phone, if you're doing this, if you're checking something, if you're worried about the next patient or the last patient. You really have to be in presence, slow down, you know They are the most important person at that moment and nobody else. And that itself is healing because everybody in the world, whether it's my daughter who's 5 or my patients at 85, they want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want their worries to be acknowledged, and they really want a communication. They don't want a lecture. They
Mhm.
don't want to be told things. And again, if you're not in the space, it's just not going to happen. I'm going to come in with a
Yes,
lecture, tell you what to do, and just walk out the room, and that's horrible.
yes,
If you felt that, and if you've been to a
absolutely.
doctor, it feels empty and cold.
Yes.
So as you said, that presence, removing the distraction, is really important, whether you're in the doctor's
Mhm.
office or with your children.
Yeah, yeah, they're absolutely right. And we're getting really good comments here. Like, especially I don't know why the you LinkedIn is not showing your name, but it's saying LinkedIn user. Excited to be here for the discussion. Two amazing leaders. Thank you so much. Who brings such love, compassion to healthcare and this beautiful and important art of human caring. So thank you so much. Then there's another comment by Kamala. We are at amazing transformative time to bring empathy and compassion into every profession, especially healthcare and life. And Dr. Diana is amazing, open-minded MDs that is true role model, learner, and educator. Blessed to be here her cycles. Yeah, I will definitely. She is amazing. Then another
Okay.
comment by LinkedIn, such needed conversation. Yes, absolutely. And Zoom party. Hello all. Hello. So, anyways, keep these comments coming, and it really is. And yeah, truly, Caritas to be present, develop relationship. Absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely.
Darlene. Yes, and we know it's Darlene because she is the founder and the champion of Caritas, and really how
Yes.
we should be living in healthcare with presence, with compassion. And that's what this conversation is really about.
Yes, yes, and I remember her presentation during the healthcare summit was amazing. It was all about Caritas, and like it's amazing. I never heard that before that, but when I know that, that's what does it mean? And it said, oh my God, this is it exactly what it is, and it should be. So, anyways, let's come back to the discussion. You talk about this, like the how compassion is important, and how empathy is important. So, what do you mean, especially if you're asked to define that, what do you mean by this beyond, like medicine or healing beyond science? How can a person can heal beyond just these medicine and with this science? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we really are our bodies, we really are the pharmacy. We really have everything within us to heal. Because even if I do a surgery, even if I give you the pill, your body is the one that is truly that pharmacy, breaking things down, rearranging things, every second with a medicine or not. But again, going back to the power of our emotions and why these are so important, because when we feel different emotions, in the background, whether you really, really notice this or not, your body is producing a lot of chemicals, neurotransmitters, hormones. These are molecules that change your anatomy, your physiology, even like your gene expression. What I mean by that is we all have our genes, but they may express or not. For example, if we think about, let's say, breast cancer, and you have a certain gene called BRCA1 or 2, it gives you a chance of getting breast cancer, let's say about 60% if you have this gene. But what about the 40% that don't get that? I mean, if it's all genetics, then it should be, oh, you have a gene and it's going to manifest into that disease. But that's not the case. So we have to look at, why do some people in a large percentage are not manifesting that cancer or that disease? And so what is the other factor? Is, what is our internal state? What are we bathing our cells, our, down to the molecular level in? And that we're bathing in is these hormones, these molecules that lead to disease or lead to wellness and repair. So we are either in a state of calm and coherence, or we're in a state of chaos. And if even if we look at cancer cells, we're medical students, you look at these slides under the microscope and you look at these pictures that are colorful, but when you look at cancer versus regular cells, you see chaos, you see distortion. The cell shapes are not round and smooth. They're chaotic. They are growing or overgrowing more than they should. So, how do we get to that point? Because again, these signals inside our body are chaotic. And guess what? Stress, anger, fear, worry, it will get you there. And again, I didn't learn this in medical school. I learned put these symptoms together, come up with a diagnosis. Here's your pill, here's your surgery, or come back in 3 months after this test. I mean, that's really what I learned. But what I had the gift when I went through burnout and just chronic stress, leading to burnout, is your body will produce all these hormones that will lead to inflammation. So you develop diseases. You develop asthma, which I got at 40 some years old. You develop chest pain. You develop rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune diseases, and let that go on enough, you'll get to cancer. So nothing changed. I didn't change jobs or families or spouses. I just changed my thoughts, what I'm putting my attention into, what I'm focusing on every day. And then you get to a place where there's not this bombardment of stress and worry, and you're at a place where there's calm and gratitude and peace. So we have to change our focus, our attention, and our energy will change.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right that, it's all in our head, and only like, if we, if I know I like to quote here, I think it was from Dr. Joe Dispenza, that he said that, if our mind can actually make us sick, it has also the power to heal us. It's all in our head, right? And that's exactly, you beautifully defined that, how it is impacting our entire nervous system, entire physical health. But tell us a bit about it, that, how we can train our brain or train our mind to heal ourselves, because it's, as you said, that it's all in our heads, and we can change our focus or attention to heal ourselves. But it requires some training, right? So tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, the good news is that there's something called neuroplasticity, a really fancy name to
Mhm.
say we can change how our network of nerves and signals in our brain map each other, and then they get to a more efficient place, doing a different activity. So it doesn't your brain doesn't stop learning at 15 or 20. It goes on forever. So whatever pattern we fed it and whatever thing that we were doing always, we can change it. You can change a habit, you can change a belief, you can change anything, but you may need new information. You have to probably, understand, read why this is important, and then you have to change something. Like, so before today, you didn't really realize that your emotions could cause disease or wellness. So not exactly as you say, what do I do? Well, one of the best ways we can start changing how our internal state is, and it's free and it's easy, is to start with gratitude. It seems like so, oh, but gratitude, when we focus on gratitude, not just check off a list, but really feel it and think about, like, why am I grateful? Why am I grateful for this or that? And you feel and you sit on that emotion, again, that emotion is going to start releasing dopamine, serotonin, these hormones that make us happy, that makes us feel good. That's what if you eat chocolate, you get this dopamine hit, sugar dopamine, you get these happy hormones. So if we start focusing on that instead of all the worries and all the stress and all the things you can't change, and you can't change your spouse and your work yet, like you can't change other people, but what can I change myself? What am I putting attention to? So gratitude starts to change that. So write it in the morning, 10 things you're grateful for, 5 things, 3 things, write it at night. And then throughout the day, start saying, like, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for my food that I'm going to eat. I'm grateful for my legs that help me walk. I'm grateful for this home that has a roof. I mean, like, just everything. We are so many things we can be grateful for. And that's just starts to change our internal state. It brings it to not chaos, not stress, not panic, but like calm. And that's one step that's easy. And then we can go further and further. But you have to schedule a time
Yeah.
to, again, not be bombarded by all these messages, this stressful, these emails. Schedule a time, whether it's the morning or night, but morning is very nice because it
Mhm.
starts the intention for the day, where you can be in a place of calm, where you could call it meditation, you could call it prayer, you could call it journaling, but it has to slow down your nervous system. It has to make you focus on what you're grateful for, what you're looking forward to, what you're excited about for the day. So when you start training your brain to look for things that you're excited for, grateful for, happy for, everything inside your body starts to shift slowly, slowly. And you get to a place of coherence, of calm, where you can now heal and it's in a different state.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And there again, so it's very nice comments coming. Like Kamala is saying that, well said, it resonates a lot with what is shown lately in latest research. Neuropsychoimmunotherapy can bring epigenetic changes. Our genetic is not locked in, and it is most vibrant system that listens to us every moment. And that is why being coherent is going to make us heal or respond better to any disease or prevent disease proactively, like Dr. Diana is conveying. Absolutely. It's a very wonderful comment. And I think that's a comment by Darlene. I love neuroplasticity. We are always developing new pathways to learning and growth. And yes, and again, another comment is good books to read is Super Genes by Dr. Deepak Chopra and Dr. Rodolphe Tanzi, and The Brain That Changes Itself by Dr. Norman uh, Deutsch are exactly aligned with what we are talking here, and there's so much to understand still. And MDs like Dr. Diana will bring impeccable movement in this regard. Neuroplasticity is the future of many health conditions, absolutely. So I think this is it. Yeah, there's another, and in this context, again, like, yeah, caritas and its gratitude is more than a practice, it's relational, it's spiritual force, and it deepens presence, strengthen connection, support healing, not just emotionally, but biologically. When we cultivate gratitude, we are not just shifting mindset, we are reshaping the brain toward love. And yeah, there, Darlene is again, it's amazing, of course. Then this, yeah, and by focusing on what's good, even in difficult circumstances, gratitude helps build resilience. It trains the brain to recover more quickly from adversity and to find meaning in challenges, which is essential for healing growth. We need to pause. Absolutely. I love those comments, Darlene and Kamala. It's really nice. You're just complimenting our conversation. It's really nice. Thank you so much for sharing your comment. Uh, Diana, so you tell us that you said that you've gone through burnout, right? How did that like shift your perspective? And tell us a bit about it. That how what was the reason that you felt burnout, and then how you came out from that burnout?
Yeah, I'm very grateful for burnout because it taught me, what really like the power in the mind in, months, like how quickly you could go from normal health to real disease. And I mean, my hair was falling out. I grinded my teeth so bad. I cracked a molar. I had to have a root canal. I didn't even know what a root canal was. I had to learn about this. And it was really painful, like really painful and then I got an abscess from that. I mean, it was pretty, I mean, pain is a great teacher, and I'm so grateful for pain because otherwise maybe you don't learn. But we had that. I said I developed asthma. I mean, like I had these tests called pulmonary function tests. They like put you in this little machine. You had to blow. They give you an inhaler, and then you see that you truly have constricted airways, and they get better with this inhaler. I mean, again, how do you develop asthma at 42? I wasn't born with it. I didn't have it as a teenager, and I still don't have anything now. I can run, and I never use an inhaler. So all these things were happening in my body. I couldn't even walk or run because I got a debilitating chest pain. My joints hurt. My rheumatoid factor was elevated. That's like autoimmune disease beginning. And so, how do you get there? You get there because you are focused. For me, on fear. When COVID happened, even though I wasn't even like a frontline physician, this whole panic. I was like reading the Facebook, news feed, and like everybody's dying, and it got so blown up for me. Taking everybody's fear and pain, and it wasn't even real. I mean, it really wasn't. But in my mind, it was really real. So I was in constant fear. I'm gonna die, and the world's over, and that's not helpful for anybody because it didn't change anything except my body, my diseases. I created them. So again, just like you said with dispensa, like we can create the disease or we can create the wellness. So when I got off the Facebook news feed, when I stopped reading that, when I made time for truly like meditation and breathing, and I still continue to exercise, I always have. That's also another very important thing to do, movement, whatever it is for you. Um, eating healthy, that always continue. That's really important too. Sleep is really important. All these basic things have to be part of it as well. But you can have all that, and if your mind is in a bad place, it doesn't matter. It will negate all of it because I still ate very healthy. I still exercised. I still slept well. But when my mind was stuck in fear, 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 disease happens.
Yeah.
So when we're stuck in resentment, not forgiving, when we're stuck in anger, it's the same thing. So whether you're angry all the time, resentful of something that happened 20 years ago, you're in the same place of these emotions that are illness producing. So when you can let go of that, forgive, you can be at peace with whatever happened, be grateful for the lessons they came from that person in your life, that situation. You start getting to a place where you're going to heal and you're going to be in a place of love. So switching that, again, I started to make these changes. I started to focus on something that can give me purpose. And at that time, I started a physician support platform called Physician Coach Support, which I ran for 3 years
Yeah.
to help physicians, with free coaching
Wow.
in a platform that was online. So that gave me a purpose every day to wake up and do something and like learn about podcasting and learn, how to ask people to come on my show or whatever it was. Like, do all these things I never knew how to do, but it gave me a purpose. So having a purpose, that's spiritual. Being grateful, that's spiritual. Helping others, that is spiritual practices. It doesn't have to be religious, but it's spiritual. So I really do think burnout is a loss of our spirituality. It's a spiritual crisis. So when we can switch to purpose, gratitude, service in any way, shape, or form, we can really get out of this chronic stress and isolation and depression. Because if you're doing those things, you are connecting with other people. And we know that isolation, which 1/3 of all humanity is isolated, feels lonely.
Yeah.
That is worse than smoking like 20 cigarettes a day. I mean, that's so bad for your health. So when we switch to that, like again, our body is going to get back to coherence, to wellness, to not being in a disease state. So those things are important to understand and start switching things. You have to make a change. It's not going to change on its own.
Yes, amazing. I mean, I love that what you said that pain is a teacher, and that's very true. And I always say that everything happens for a reason. We just need to find out the reason that why it happened, and when we find that reason, we we get in the power that to change the condition, right? Because like pain is, I would say that it's inevitable. Everyone has to suffer pain any time in their lives, but it's a matter of how we react to that pain or how do we react to the situation. If we just react to the situation, oh my god, we are just like we are having the disease, I'm the one or the victim, I'm the one who's been struck by the bad luck. And let's say if someone has a cancer or has some very like chronic disease or something, and then say they can't do anything, then they will remain in this situation. But as you said that you had the burnout and you had so many physical symptoms, physical problems, but you took it as an opportunity to understand that what's going on in this. So it's really, really amazing that how you turned your situation into something which is not only helping you, but you are the ones who you become the light, right? You become the light bearer who's helping people and to heal in a way which they might not be able to, because it's as even I said in the beginning that uh, taking medicine is important, but taking medicine without the proper belief and without like having the proper mindset, it wouldn't do anything. It's just a matter of having that positive mindset. And it's not only, as you said, that it's not only ticking the box like, okay, I'm gratitude, so I need to write down 3 things that I'm grateful for and done. And then like you go back into the mindset, oh my god, why am I such a loser? Then that person will remain a loser for the rest of the life. But it just all begins in the mind. I'm very like I when I was actually going through your the introduction, what really caught my attention is that you're a Reiki master also, and because I've also learned Reiki, and it's really intriguing. So tell us a bit about that. How do you integrate your practice of Reiki into your medicine, or like in this like your current practices?
Yeah, well, Reiki or pranic healing, and I do more pranic healing, but it really, I mean, if we listen to, Tesla or Einstein, they really said that the future of medicine is, with energy and really about understanding, the quantum healing or different modalities. But we have to just understand we are energy. And when you walk into a room and somebody's happy, I mean, you actually feel that. You feel the happiness. When you walk into a room and people have been fighting, you're like, oh, you really feel that in your body. You don't have to be too sensitive to really notice that. And energy is real. You sit next to somebody in a cubicle for 10 minutes and studies show you're going to pick up their mood because we are energy generating human beings. When they do a EKG, electrocardiogram, when they do an EEG, they check your brain waves. I mean, this energy flowing through your body that we emanate, that comes out of our heart is the most powerful electromagnetic force is our heart. We are sending vibrations, our of energy. So, you can feel that. So for me, I mean, the way that I really use that is it just helps me pick up sort of the vibe of how people are feeling when people contract, react, change, like little things happen, how they are, clenching their hand, pulling back. And I can kind of really pick up on their worry, their hesitation, what they're not saying. And then I really try to get curious, address it, really like not just put it under the rug, but really bring it up because when you're a patient, we all have a fear. We may not say it, but we're scared of the big C word if it's cancer. We're scared it's gonna hurt. We're scared what we're gonna find out. We're scared we have to, address and have an exam. We're scared of a lot of things. And when we can address that fear and just label it and say it, it really dissipates it, dissolves it, and it brings connection because you are curious, you want to understand. And when somebody understands your fear, it was a friend or physician, you just feel so much better. And so that just relaxes you and gets you into a place of trust. And without trust in medicine, you really don't have anything. You really need trust. You need to trust your doctor. They have, they have to trust me. It goes both ways. And just like kind of going back to the placebo effect, as you said, you know, the important thing people have to realize too is like every single medication that you take today, insulin, cholesterol, your heart pill, they are all tested against placebo, which
Mhm.
means that they have to be better than the placebo. So if you are taking your cholesterol med but it was tested against placebo. Like 50 to 80% of people got better just with placebo. I mean, that is the real data of what placebo
Yeah.
is. So, they're not taking medicine, but their
Mhm.
belief, or when a physician believes in a treatment, and they have a belief that's going to help you, studies show that you're going to do much better than when the physician is like, well, I don't know, like you're actually not going to get better. So the belief from the physician standpoint and from the patient is very, very important. So again, understanding this energy and the belief and how when we radiate this energy, it can really help us to understand the other person. That's really how I use my knowledge from pranic healing. But obviously people want to, have pranic healing as part of their treatment. I'm happy to do that as well. But it really just is my tools to understand, well, how do disease processes happen from an energetic standpoint?
Mhm.
Because if you hold anger usually stays here in this energy center. And guess what happens? You develop gastritis, stress ulcers, and that is related to this energy center. If you hold on to a lot of grief or a lot of, things like from survival standpoint, you start having pain in your pelvis and you become my patient as a urologist.
Yeah.
You have frequency to pee, urgency to pee, pelvic pain, testicle pain, perineal pain, all this pain, which again is our teacher. But if you don't address that energy that is stuck there, I mean, just by talking about it and saying, like, what's going on in your life, release that energy, that thought, then you actually get much better than if I just give you your pills for overactive bladder. So we need to understand how that energy, those thoughts, their energy, are stuck somewhere in your body and they're contributing to your pain, your disease, your symptoms.
Mhm. Yes, I'm sure your patients are really blessed to like have a physician like you because normally when we visit to doctors, they usually check the symptoms and that's it, and they give the medicine and that's all. But I think you pointed out such a good point that it we are all energy beings, and it's just the energy that connects us. It's not what we say, it's not what we like, what our physical appearance is. That I also say that, like, because we are energy beings, we are souls, and then when a soul connects with the other soul, that's the true connection is built. Otherwise it's all superficial connection, I would say. Like, this, we may get, like, kind of attracted, or maybe we may have, let's say, we may impressed by someone's titles and like the appearance or something, but it would be just, I would say, superficial level. But the real genuine connection happens when you connect with the energy, with your soul, and then it is a long lasting. And I was also actually listening to Deepak Chopra's a podcast, and he said also that, I don't know, it was Deepak Chopra or the other neuroscientist, but what he said was that, it's like the healing begins when that connection is built. And it's just the presence that, as you said, when you even ask that what's going on in your life, and then maybe they have this trauma residing in the, let's say, in the body, maybe in the chest or in the like pelvic area. And when you just listen to them, then like the 30 to 40% healing is already done, and the rest of the thing gets really easy. So I think you pointed out such a brilliant point. I know we are like a kind of a little over time, but I just want to ask, because you always say that, love is the main the healing part. So tell us a bit about it, that how does it work in, especially in the medicine and in the healthcare system.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. I was actually, thinking that the whole time you were speaking about this energy, and what I thought about is, words lie, but energy never lies. And, you can call it your gut instinct. You're somewhere, you're like, oh, that just didn't feel right, but you're trying to rationalize it, like why?
Yeah,
And you may not know why for a long time, but your gut instinct, your energy can pick up
yeah,
something that's discordant. And so you have to trust that. That is really, really important. And so, when we're talking about this energy and this trust, I mean, you are making a bond, an energetic bond with love. And when you connect with love, like again, that feeling, that frequency of love, that is very healing. It's a resonant, coherent feeling, opposite of fear and distrust and anger. That's not healing producing. So when you're in love with, by being present, because when you're present and you're listening to understand and not just to answer, that takes actually energy, and that takes presence, and that is love. It's unconditional love. If you can't love your patients, then you're in the wrong field. You're in the wrong place, because you have to love the human in front of you. It's not just about like, oh, I'm so good at my surgeries and I'm an amazing researcher. That's great. Good for you. I mean, good. But when we get out of our ego in our own way, and we really go back to love and loving the other human being and being present, and that's love, people get better. Like you said, like people really do get better. And I always ask myself, like, well, what do I do? Because sometimes I don't do anything, but I listen. I listen to people, and I'm truly like a psychourologist. I listen to their worries, I listen to their fear. I don't listen to fix, I just listen to let people share with me what bothers them and what's important to them. And when you do that, again, that is healing, whether it's your mom that's listening to you, your physician, or anybody. And sometimes we can't fix stuff. Even as a surgeon, we want to fix, but like sometimes just letting it be, understanding that there will be pain, understanding that it's not all happy, and we are there while all this is happening. That's really important. Like sometimes we can't fix everything. I can't just give you pills. We have to experience the discomfort. I'm going to try to ease it the best I can with my abilities, but sometimes it just is. And, giving that space to people, again, that's healing. So we have to go back to love in healthcare. We have to get out of our ego, our head, our separation, our fear, our hierarchy. I mean, that's not healing anybody. Physicians are like about 2/3 of them are burned out. So about 25% have depression, 13% are suicidal, and 400 to 500 per year, every year, die by suicide. This is
Oh,
not a place where we're doing well. Nursing
yeah.
staff too. How many are leaving the practice? The new nurses, about I think it was 30% of new nurses are leaving the profession. that's a bad sign that we are not in a place where we as physicians or nurses feel seen and loved and cared for and that we are important. So we have to change. And like, how do we change the system? We change ourselves. It starts with what Gandhi said, or with Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. It starts with ourselves. We have to be the love, the caring, the presence, and then that is going to ripple to others around us.
Yes, amazing. I love it. I love what you said. So I know, like, this is the only thing that we can bring healing to ourselves and to the others. So I think I love that. So, what one practice would you recommend for people inside or outside of the medicine to bring more compassion and present into their daily lives?
Yeah, gratitude, it really is. We're going back to that. It's sounds so simple, but it really will shift because when you're in gratitude, you like again, everything's gonna slow down, everything's gonna be coherent. So you're gonna have a little more space between your, thought and your action or reaction instead of just being so mad or yelling or writing the nasty email right there. You're gonna have a little more space to have that compassion because you are grateful and that's gonna slow everything down. So start with that, or just start with a time of, really in the morning, making 5, 10, 15, whatever, incremented, but little time to really set the intention. Like, how do you want your day to go? Because if you start off and say, this is an awful day, it will be an awful day. But if you start and say, I'm ready for the magic, I'm so grateful, thank you for the blessings. Because when you are grateful, that actually brings allows you to receive because it's already here. You are allowing that receiving of the good day, of the blessings, of the joy. So start with that. You start seeing all these gifts happen, all these beautiful coincidences, synchronicities, and you start saying, like, oh, wow, like this really does work. So start with that. Start with the time and an attention in your day, and you will see a shift in your life, your mood, your health, and realize you have a power. Like you have so much power to heal, to complement your surgery, your physician, your medications. And maybe you can even get off a lot of these medications when you are out of stress because your blood pressure is going to get better, your sugar levels are going to get better. All that is going to get better by shifting your emotions and your thoughts.
Yeah, amazing. I love that advice. I know this. You are the expert on this, and I love this topic. So we can actually go on and on, but the time is very limited. So tell our audience that if they want to reach out to you, what is the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, just on LinkedIn. I usually live there. So
Okay.
just reach out on
Yeah.
LinkedIn or just go to my website as well. I think it's on there, DianaLondoñoMD.com. But usually LinkedIn is a great place. And yeah, we can definitely talk about this for hours. I just love talking to you about this. I love your, book. People really should read your
Thank you.
book. The Algorithm of Life
Thank
is
you.
a beautiful book, really talking about these very complicated concepts, quantum physics, all the stuff that you really distilled in a beautiful manner that is easy
Thank you.
to access and understand from all the knowledge you have, and you brought it together, easy to really understand these kind of bigger concepts, but they really are life changing and they can really make a big impact in your health and your happiness. And that's an inside job. It's not out there, it's not in the car, it's not in the money, it's inside. When you have that joy, when you have gratitude, it actually comes to you because you are calling it in.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. Thank you so much. And those who are listening and those who are commenting, like Kamala and Darlene, and many other people who are just maybe like listening and watching us live or even the replay, thanks a lot for
Yes.
tuning in. And it's really a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.